how the am I supposed to do everything? The million-dollar question, isn't it? Hi friends, this video is around how to keep up with your housework, especially if you're a working mum. I don't have all the answers, I'm gonna be honest, but I'm going to share things with you that worked for me. Right, so I'm going to dump loads and loads of things on you in a second, but before we do, I'm Alina Ghost. I do loads of mum content. I do daily shorts, I do 2 long form videos a week, so I'd very much love for you to get involved and actually subscribe to the channel. And if you like this video, please do give me a thumbs up to make sure that other people can see it too. It helps the algorithm and this content to spread. Funnily enough, I'm starting this video and my husband is currently washing the dog because he decided to roll in poo. So what happens when you're mum, you've got mucky kids? What happens when you are a dog owner, you've got puppies and dogs that do very silly things? So here are my tips. I'm a full-time working mum. I've been in digital marketing for over a dozen years, and basically these are the things that have worked for me, and I can't wait to share these with you right now. Tip number 1, and that is something that I do for redecorating as well as cleaning, and that is make a list of things that you need to do. So when it comes to cleaning, what throughout the year do you need to get done? And I would recommend actually creating a bit of like a cleaning calendar so that you know exactly when you're going to do things that you can roughly stick to. So for example, there's some things that you do on a weekly basis, maybe even possibly on a daily basis. If you've got kids, I've no doubt that you've touched a Hoover in the last 24 hours, am I right? But there's other things that you can do on a quarterly basis, maybe every 6 months. So for example, there are bigger items or things that you need to do. So for example, cleaning the windows. For example, I don't know, mopping the floors, you can do once a month or something like that. It's up to you if you want to do it more. I absolutely hate mopping floors, so that is basically something that I don't do very often. But basically plot these things out so that you roughly know when things are going to be done. Then you can have the weekly chunks so that you know this week I need to get X, Y, and Z done. And then you can plot that into your daily tasks as well. So around your working schedule, when you can get things done. And I'm going to recommend how you can get those done when you've got like 10-15 minutes to spare. Quickly before we move on, there are other jobs that you can do monthly, and this is something that my husband has reminders for on his phone, and that is running through the cleaner through both the washing machine and the dishwasher, because those things need to be done. It maintains that item, it actually ensures that the longevity of the electrical goods, and making sure that we do that regularly. So that is something that we even put reminders in for. So when I'm talking about a calendar or like a schedule for cleaning specifically, this could be reminders on your phone, this could be in a diary, this could be in any form that works for you. So when I've mentioned about utilizing your time wisely, and that is around being smarter with the time that you have. So for example, if you're waiting for the kettle to boil because you're making a cup of tea, why don't you spend that 5-10 minutes whilst the kettle is boiling to actually wipe down the surfaces? Are you waiting for your toddler to have a quick wee on the toilet? Like if they don't need much help, my 3-year-old doesn't need any help anymore, he's a lot more independent but still wants us to be in the room with him, why don't you spend that 5-10 minutes to actually scrub down the sink? So suggestions like that basically just help me maintain the cleanliness of the household, and that is what I'd recommend. So that is something that I prefer doing, maintenance over big chunks of cleaning. So I prefer to do things quickly. Another example would be I actually wipe down the bath after I have a bath with some like bath bombs in it, just because I don't want that grime to settle, and therefore I don't want to be cleaning it in the later date, which will basically, because it's dried, because it's like a lot more layers, will take a lot longer to clean. But because I can just like spray, you can wipe down that bath nice and easy. It means that next time you go for a bath as well, it will be clean for you to use, and I don't have to basically go back to it every couple of weeks and spend a long time doing it. Another example is basically wiping down any like glass surfaces after we have a shower, just to make sure that there's no like droplet stainage, or I guess like dryness after you have a shower. So I definitely recommend like actually using a squeegee straight away after you have a shower. And if the whole household does it, so you need to get the whole household involved, it means less cleaning for everybody else, right? It's about creating habits, and it's about getting other people involved as well. So why is it that if you're working full-time, aka me, why would you be doing everything as well around the house? You need to get your family involved. I absolutely love getting my kid like even just to like hoover, or like to use a dustpan and brush around the house, and he likes mopping as well. and to clean windows and mirrors, which is a lot of fun. But when it comes to my husband, he is the one who actually sorts out the kitchen at night. So he puts things in the dishwasher, turns it on, sorts out the dog food for the day after because it needs to thaw, and wipes down all the surfaces, needs to wash up, and basically makes sure that everything in the kitchen is nice and tidy for me to come downstairs and do my routine in the morning, which is take everything out of the dishwasher that's clean. So basically we work in partnership, and you figure out what things you like to do and what things you don't like to do, and how you can actually balance that out and divvy up the work so that you're not the only one doing it, especially if you're both working. There's some things that we do regularly, and therefore I'd recommend you actually set days for those things. So one of the examples, the biggest examples, would probably be around groceries. So I do my groceries online, and therefore I know that every Tuesday I'm going to book, not this weekend's, but the weekend after, to come to us. So I choose those, like I do a main like booking, I know the slot that is going to come, but then I do reiterations of it a few days beforehand. So we always work 2 weeks in advance, and therefore we know that there's always an online shop coming every Sunday morning, for example. But if you like to do grocery shopping physically, I also recommend that you actually have a specific day that you know that it's coming, so that the whole family is aware. They know that, like, on this day we are going to go grocery shopping. Also, that gives your family enough to know when things are actually coming, so that they know when the food is coming, but also so that they can help you out with it too. So for example, my husband always brings in the baskets from the Tesco shop that we do, and then I put those away into the fridge. So you could do the same for laundry. If you know that you want to set specific days for your laundry to give it enough time to dry, especially during this winter season, I recommend that you have specific days for it. However, I wish I was able to do it every set days. However, I just usually do it when I think it needs to be done. However, the biggest reason for that is because at the moment we are waiting to get an extension done in 18 months time, so we don't actually have enough space for an error. So I usually do it around our social schedule, so making sure that it's not there on the weekends because we can utilize our space as much as possible. And I also make sure that I know that when it's sunny, then I can put it up on the area, because we don't have a tumble dryer yet. So basically it's working around our own lifestyle means, I guess, but that is going to change in the future, and that's okay too. If your cleaning schedule changes and your work schedule changes and what your life looks like your actual space around you, that's okay to change your cleaning schedule and how it works as well. But I definitely plan to make sure that there's certain days that I'm going to do the laundry. So another example of when it changes too is when I had a newborn and I used to do cloth nappies. I used to do my washing every 2 to 3 days, and that's why the schedule was always changing anyway, because there's 7 days a week, right? So if I did it every 2 days, then that would shift along. So instead of it being a particular day a week, it was more around like the schedule every 2 days. So whatever works for you guys. When it comes to bins, that is also done once a week, I hope, around in your area. So something that we do as well is put all of our garbage bins, our recycling bins, in the garage before it goes out in the morning. The reason we can't do it the night before is because we have foxes who like to dig into the bins, especially the black bin bags are full of garbage, and basically eat stuff out of there. We don't want that to happen because it's a pain clearing up, and it's not very good for the foxes either in case they get something that they shouldn't have. So basically we do it in the mornings, and we prep things the night before as much as we can, and then we put it outside out of the garage. So that is something that on the whole my husband does and I help out with in order to actually get those bags ready in the garage, and then he puts it out usually. So that is how we work as in partnership as well, us both working full-time. I already mentioned around mopping once a month, and the reason for that is because I don't particularly enjoy it, because I don't currently like the kitchen that we have, and that's the area that needs most mopping. But basically I feel like if we get that extension, maybe I'll do it a lot more, but at the moment it's around once a month. To maintain the kitchen, because I've said I prefer maintenance over actually doing big cleans, I do that too. So I use kitchen roll to basically wipe down any surfaces that do need to be cleaned. Because I have a dog, as well as a child. So basically it does get mucky, but instead of actually getting the mop out, I do the kitchen roll thing and just a cloth basically, just to wipe down the surfaces and maintain the surface, and then I do a big clean once a month. So there's no reason why you can't actually maintain your space and then do bigger cleans, which will be easier because you've maintained that space during the time that suits you. So that's a tip from me. I've already mentioned the fact that we have a dog, and whether it's them molting or whether it's the dirt that they bring in, you need to have something handy to be able to just grab and use. So I'm talking about a handheld Hoover here. So I very much recommend you getting a vacuum that is fit for purpose, that is easy to grab for and use when you need it. So in terms of a schedule, it's not about a schedule when it comes to a Hoover, in my opinion. It's about as and when you need it, which is very, very regularly, to make sure you make it as easy as possible for you to reach for it, easy as possible for you to use it, so that you can use it on a regular basis. As I said, sometimes I use it daily, sometimes I would use it more than a few times a day because we've got a toddler and a puppy. So something that I love doing, and that is setting a timer and getting some stuff done. I don't want to be spending my weekends cleaning. I don't want to be spending my evenings cleaning, but it needs to be done as well, right? So what I do is actually set a timer. I love to do a power hour. So that is when I set the clock and I say, right, I can get as much done as I possibly can in that 1 hour. Obviously, I prioritize some things knowing that I have to do those, and therefore I try and get as much done as possible. No procrastinating. I do pop to loo if I need to, but basically I also get a cup of tea because it's very important for the job that needs to be done. But basically you'll be surprised how much you can get done in such a short space of time. And if an hour is too much, start off with 15 minutes, see what you can do around the house, and then if you think that you need a little bit more, make it half an hour. But basically I recommend testing that out, see what works for you, because it's a great idea that works for me. Last but not least, try and clean one thing a day. So that means that if you see something and it bothers you, so for example, I am obsessed with a clean sink. I need to make sure that it's clean, and therefore I maintain it throughout the days, and basically I just grab a little cloth, I sort it out, and it's nice and tidy. Don't have to do much to it, but it also is one thing that you do a day. If you wanted to dust some surfaces, it's a really good idea to do that as your one thing that day and then move on to something else. So for example, clean the mirrors the next day and then sort out the floors the day after. So you've always got something that you've done a day. It's a good routine to get into because once again, it is like maintenance and it's not big things. It could be something really quick, as I've mentioned already, where it's just like wiping down surfaces or like ensuring that your sinks are clean, or just like give that toilet a quick wipe. Look guys, I live with boys, so that needs to be done regularly as well. But yeah, basically do one thing a day because you would be surprised how much of a difference that makes. And this is very much a motivational part coming up, but this is about creating that routine. So even if you do something small once a day, you feel like you've achieved something, and therefore you don't need to have any mum guilt at all because you're working, you're looking after your kids, you're doing so much in this day and age that asks us for everything and yet gives back very little sometimes. Basically, I very much recommend that you do this as a routine. You even do small chunks every single day because it makes such a big difference mentally, physically, because you know what they say, if your environment is clean and tidy, then your mind is basically happy. So the idea is that you don't look at something and then you're always miserable because you're looking at these things because it's dirty and you're like, oh, I failed, I've not done this. No, because you've picked it up, you've actually sorted it out because it's your one thing for that particular day, and therefore it keeps you going, keeps everybody happy, hygienic, and it's a very good habit to get into for your kids as well, because they can see that if mum is doing this once a day, I should be doing this once a day as well, and the maintenance should pass on. Fingers crossed. But yeah, no, thank you so much for watching guys. I hope that these tips are really useful to you guys, and if there are any other things that you'd like to recommend, I'd love to hear them down below, so do comment. And if you want to see any more clean with me's, power hours, do subscribe to the channel. So thanks so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye.